Whoa!
Wow.
Whoa! I actually had to reach out to Motenergy to get a proper pinout. This is a sine sinusoidal control, so it has a cosine and a sine. And these bad boys say phase A, phase B. I had to reach out to Motenergy to get clarification on this because I don't know what happens if you hook them up wrong, and there wasn't much clarity there. So these are the spec sheets. This is for the Kelly controller 88i, and this is for the Motenergy 1803. This combined gives us a little bit of a pinout sheet, which we can then build a wiring diagram, and then we can make this guy. This was that test harness that I made just to get the lengths in between different node points correct. I've labeled everything here. I've assigned each label a set of colors, and I only have about, I don't know, 10 colors to work with, so there are a couple repeats, but I've designated anything that is accessory 12 volts to be orange. I also had these orange somewhere for the 5 volt setup here, but those are smaller gauge wires and they're separated from the system. So anything that comes in here goes to 12 volts fused, and then I have a brown, which is a common ground, which runs through all this, guys. And you can see here, the harness that I built looks significantly smaller and a little bit shorter because I've added a ton of extra lengths here. This will go to like fuse panels and relays, so I wanted to put enough on here to make it nice. And I've also added a little bit extra on each node where it comes out, so I have some stuff to play with here. But you can see this harness is significantly bigger than this harness. And this should be like the main neural network that allows this bike to work, and everything else will be terminated in Molex MX series connectors, or Deutsch connectors as they're called. They're really great IP rated stuff, and I'll be terminating the ends of these. So you see that's kind of the handlebar setup with the headlight. That's the battery. This is the fuse box and relay area. Here we have the tail light. Here we have the controller, part of the motor. These are the pump and the temperature switch. And this is also rear brake switch, and fan control. So I think we should be pretty good to go. It's pretty good for now. That's one step out of the way. Try to kick that shit. I've got the new harness just kind of taped up where I want it to be. And I'm trying to figure out where to put my fuse box. So I was originally going to put a little box down here and put all the electronics up here, but I think I'm going to put like a retractable cord in here. So here is where the fuse box and the relays live. I don't know how it goes anymore. Oh, it goes like that, which is a little tray, and I'm going to stick relays back here, side by side, one going this way, and then this guy's going to live right here. Flasher, bike relay, headlight relay, fan relay. Damn, I need 4. Okay, let me go to the plasma cutter. That was weird. Oh crap, I gotta clean it off. Okay, so with electric bikes, one of the things that's important is you have to have kind of a 12-volt system, which is your accessory, and your high voltage setup, which is kind of your drive for your motors. Now, I'm sharing ground, so I'm going to ground this actually to the chassis ground, and the 12 volts and the 120 are going to share the same ground. Not a huge deal because it's not massive voltages, but it is fairly high for that kind of setup. But you need 12 volts, so I'm not going to run a lead acid battery. I'm actually running a DC-DC, and it's inside the battery. So what I have to have on here is a manual switch to turn on the DC-DC, which then provides 12 volt power out to the accessory, which then can close our main contactor. So it's one way to do it. You can put a 12 volt battery on this, and I'd have to find a spot for it, and I'd probably have to trickle charge it. And you could basically have the 12 volts be ready at all times to close main contactor. I'm going to actually manually switch my 12 volt DC-DC converter on and then use that to power all my 12 volts afterwards. So far I've been leaving the harness in kind of a raw, uncovered, abrasion resistant state, and I've wanted to get this fuse box and the relay system kind of figured out with the routing here. So we got a lot of our orange wires, which are all 12 volts post accessory, so they're each fused, and our ground level stuff is all brown coming in. And then we have some of our logic here, which is the headlight switch, the main contactor, and the blinkers, and something else. I don't know. But so now that I've got most of the stuff kind of like generally crimped and to length, I'll probably tear this all this tape away and run this a little bit cleaner, and then retape everything and start putting all of the sheathing on. Now I'm gonna run this stuff here, which is like a braided black sheathing with heat shrink and tape. So everything will be nice and clean. We got spots here, M6s for P-clips to hold it in place. P-clips, P-clips, P-clips. So looks like everything's getting better. I'm definitely excited to have all this stuff in, and the next steps are to clean everything up, get everything to length, and we should have a functional harness, which means I can drop the battery, finish wiring the inside of the battery. Some things have changed since I got the Kelly controller. So I'm going to change a little bit there. I think I'm going to cut a big hole in the side of this thing, stick some LEDs and some polycarbonate on it so you can like see the batteries inside. So I ran an extra wire for that. Pretty exciting though. This is kind of a milestone. Once all this gets functional, it'll be ready to ride. So it's almost in a state where we can spin the wheels, we can ride it around as long as we can bleed the brakes front and rear. And hopefully we don't release the magic smoke. Just release the magic smoke. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Dead. It's dead. Oh, wow. Wow. What? How the Ooh. IGBT's popped. What should I do? What kind of tank should I make? I don't know. I shall sculpt it. Here we go. Okay, so we broke down. I'm getting 100 volts at the battery, but I'm not getting 100 volts between the two terminals, but I am getting an external ground to here 100 volts. So we have some sort of connection issue in here, but I think my Uber's here. Yeah, we'll see. This is how the maiden voyage ends, with the bike in the van. I don't know what happened. I think I was measuring the voltage on the two battery output terminals, and it was getting like 3 volts or something like that. And I do have another battery ground that comes out, so I measured from that battery ground. I was getting 98 volts at the battery terminal high and the auxiliary ground. So there might be a connection problem inside the battery to the main ground terminal. But that means I gotta pull the battery out of back again. Ugh. Ugh. So when I took off, I just tore the whole thing down. When I took off the negative battery terminal, the whole lug spun out. This one stayed in, which confirms my suspicions that this lug had loosened and was no longer touching a bus bar, which means there is a loose nut somewhere in there, and I'll have to peen it to fix it. So, okay, so next episode. Enjoy. Subscribe, like, do what you will. These videos are not coming out in a timely manner at this point because I'm busy. So I really appreciate you guys watching. I don't really care about these videos anymore, but I am going to continue making them because I actually go back and look at all the footage, and I use that footage to basically figure out what I was doing because these projects are so slow and I forget half the stuff I'm doing most of the time. So enjoy.